The first unit of your syllabus is Introduction to Computer System. Okay. What is the need? Why I have written this Introduction to Computer System, not Introduction to Computer? Anyone? Why I have written Introduction to Computer System, not computer, Introduction to Computer? First of
सर
all, you
क्या
will
कह
have
रहे हो
to
सर आप?
understand that what is a
आपकी
system.
आवाज थोड़ी धीरे आ रही है सर आपकी.
Yeah.
सर योर वॉइस इज कमिंग स्लो सर थोड़ी सी.
Uh, that might be possible because of internet, slow internet.
ये सर
Okay.
अब ठीक है सर. ये सर
Okay.
अपना.
So I am telling that why I have used this Introduction to Computer System, not Introduction to Computer. Anyone?
सर
Anyone?
बिकॉज सर कंप्यूटर सिस्टम के अंदर क्या पार्ट्स है सर कि क्या काम करते हैं सर रैम सर ऐसे मदरबोर्ड आई थिंक सो.
Yeah, very
Yes, sir.
near to.
Probably you're not just going to tell us about the computer, but also its parts,
You are telling us
entire
what is
functioning.
that computer, how the RAM works, how CPU. I think so.
Yeah, very close, but not the correct answer. First, you will have to understand that what is a system. A system is a set of items that interact. System is a collection of components, different components, and those components interact with each other. So whenever there is a collection of components, and if they are connected and if there is an interaction, then you can say that a system is a set of items that interact. For example, if we talk about the computer system, so in the computer system, what are the things? Computer hardware, then computer software, then after that you can see what is the database you are using for storing the data, then what are the different users who are using the computer system, right? So these are the various components: user, hardware, software, what are the network infrastructure, right? So that is known as computer system. So one computer system, if I talk in terms of examples, so for example, banking system, banking software system. So there you see that if you go to any bank for deposit your money or withdraw your money, or opening your account, so for any type of banking transaction, if you go to the bank, so there is a office clerk who process the software. Then there is a banking software, then computer, then internet. So all these, this in collective manner, this is called as a banking software system, right? So you can say that a system is a set of items that interact. If you can make a diagram with items and connections, inputs and outputs, it describes a system. Systems usually have emergent properties that cannot be predicted by the parts or connections. It is common to model these properties with diagrams, equations, sets, state machines, or other methods. Then, what is the difference between system and software? Software is merely a particular technology in which numeric patterns in a memory are executed by a computer. Software is wonderfully useful and it might be a subsystem. So basically, what is the software? Software is a program. Or what is the program? Program is basically is a set of instructions in order to be carried out to solve a given problem. Software is a program in order to be carried, a set of instructions. Program is basically a set of instructions in order to be carried out to solve a given problem. And software is not touchable. Hardware is touchable, but software is intangible. Or you can say that untouchable or intangible, right? Software is a set of instructions software is used to perform a particular task, while system is a collection of components. Always there is an interaction between the components. So if we talk about the computer system, there are various components: user, hardware, software, network infrastructure, database. These are the various infrastructure of the system. So this is the difference between the system and software, right? Then if we talk about the computer system here in terms of hardware, this is again the collection of various components. You can see here that there is a monitor, then there is a mouse, there is a keyboard. In this picture, this is a cabinet, open cabinet. In this cabinet, there are various hardware parts. So here, this is the motherboard. Okay, motherboard where circuit is there and slots are given on which various RAM, CPU, and other things are fixed. Okay, so this is power supply in the cabinet. This is drive, CD drive, DVD drive, hard drive. Okay. Then this is the USB connectors, right? Then this is the random access memory on the motherboard. There are various slots. Okay. So random access memory. This is a primary memory, which is not the permanent memory. Then this is the modulator, demodulator. This is the modulator, demodulator, which is known as in short form modem. This is the router through which your data is transferred from one computer to another. From this computer, it's going to the router. Through the router, it's moving towards modem. Okay. In the modem, it's digital. After digital, through wire, it has been converted into analog. And from analog, again, this modem is converting analog to digital. So the working of modem is convert from analog signal to digital signal. Where your data is traveling through wire, that will be analog. But if that is in computer, that is known as digital, right? And these devices are known as peripheral devices. Mouse, keyboard, monitor, all these are known as peripheral devices. In Hindi, you can say peripheral means sahayak devices. Okay. Then this is the front USB of the cabinet where pen drive and other things are inserted, plugged in. Then here, this is the heat sink assembly, fan here, which keep your computer cool. This is the motherboard where all the circuitry is there. Then CPU is there. So if you want to define the computer system, you can say that a computer system is a basic, complete, and functional hardware and software setup with everything needed to implement computing performance. First computing device, Charles Babbage, an English mechanical engineer and polymath, originated the concept of programmable computer. Considered the father of the computer. Who is known as the father of computer? Charles Babbage is known as the father of the computer. He conceptualized and invented the first mechanical computer in the early 19th century. Then, in another way, you can see that this is the cabinet, CPU computer cabinet, where in which floppy drive, this is the floppy drive, this is the system fan to keep your system cool, this is the power supply, this is the motherboard. In this motherboard, it's evident that these are the RAM slots. These are the RAM slots, okay, where these random access memory is being fixed in these slots, okay. And then this is the processor, this is the CPU, Intel processor, here central processing unit, which is placed at this place, okay. And this is the optical drive, this is the hard drive, okay. So these are the various components of a computer system. Now, why there is a need of computer? First of all, actually your brain is an example of computer. Your brain is a non-deterministic computer. It executes every instructions in milliseconds. What I told, I'm telling that computer is brain, human brain is an example of non-deterministic computer which executes every instructions in milliseconds. Or you can say in polynomial time. N log n is the polynomial time. Whatever the instructions are executed by your human brain, that is executed in n log n times. That is also known as polynomial time. You can understand this thing with an example. Suppose you are going to see a movie and you are having a red car, a Maruti 800 of 1995 model. And suppose you have parked your car in the parking, and after seeing the movie, if you come out of the movie hall, and suppose there are in the parking lot, there are 20 Maruti 800 cars of 95 models of red color, same color, with the same make. Then how will you recognize your car? You don't take time. Within a second, you directly go to your car, right? And you run your car. Then you see, if within a second you have decided that which one is your car among the 20 same kind of cars. Another example, if suppose there are balloons, various balloons, thousands of balloons of different colors. You have marked something and written something on one balloon. Okay, and randomly you mixed all the balloons, and then someone is saying that please find out that balloon which is marked and written by you. Very easily, within a millisecond, you will recognize your own written marked balloon amongst the thousands of balloons. How your brain is deciding everything in milliseconds, right? So the same thing should be done by the deterministic machine. Deterministic machine by computer. Now what your brain is doing, okay, what the instructions your brain is doing to execute anything, the same thing should be done by the deterministic computer, digital computer. That should be the purpose. For example, if you are having the 5 numbers, 6 numbers, and if I am saying that please arrange that number in ascending order or descending order, very easily you will do. 5 numbers है उसको आपने increasing order में कर दिया या decreasing order में कर दिया. That's very easy. But suppose numbers are 2000. And if I am saying, arrange the 2000 numbers in ascending or descending orders, that is difficult for a human being. For that, you will have to write the program. And that program should be efficient enough. That should be executed in a polynomial time. That is a challenge, right? So that's why that there is a use of computer when you are dealing with a very large number of data. When you are dealing with a very large number of data. For example, weather forecasting. 30 years, 40 years back, okay, you see, whatever is the prediction, you will find just opposite to that. If they say that today there will be a raining, but It's not. But today, our weather forecasting system is so advanced that whatever the prediction, even they predict up to 5 or 10 days weather forecasting. They do the weather forecasting for 5 days, 6 days. Okay, so how it is possible? Because our mathematical model, whatever the model we are using, that is efficient. And second one is that whatever the number of parameters for the weather forecasting, the number of parameters are very, very large. Very, very large. That depends on the number of parameters. Okay. So if you can estimate the number of parameters in a proper manner, in an efficient manner, then your prediction will be better. That also depends on the model. So these days for the weather forecasting, the models, computer models are much efficient than the earlier, right? So this is the use of computer. When you want to deal with a very large number of data, for example, rocket launching, weather forecasting, natural language processing, these are the various applications, okay, in which the human beings are better than computers, then how to write the program for those things, that is the main use of the computer. Now, when we are discussing anything about any entity, then history is very important. Without history, you cannot understand the things. So for that generation of computers, in the generation of computers, we will learn what is the history behind how the computers are evolved from the earlier times to the latest time. These days, i3 processors are there, i5 processors are there, i7 processors are there. In i5 processors, hard disk size is, memory size is 1 terabyte, 2 terabyte. But earlier it was in terms of 1 kilobyte or megabyte. Okay, in 1960s or 50s. So how the things have been grown, so that knowledge should be with us. So generation of computers. So here I am dividing the generation of computers into first generation, second generation, third generation, fourth generation, and fifth generations. Then there are various parameters. We will compare on the basis of various parameters. The parameters are circuitry point of view, right? What is the difference between the first generation, second generation, third, fourth, and fifth? Then memory wise, what was the difference between the first, second, third, fourth, and fifth? Processing speed wise, what was the difference? Programming language wise, what was the difference? And computers wise, what was the difference? So these are the various parameters. On the basis of these parameters, I am comparing different generations, right? So first of all, first parameter is circuitry. What type of circuit was there in the first generation? So period of the first generation was 1940 to 56, 1956, and in the first generation we were using the vacuum tube. Okay, vacuum tube, and this due to vacuum tube, the size of the computer was very large. For to install one computer of first generation, one big room room was required of size 15 into 15, 20 by 20, right? And computation speed was not much faster, and size of computer was very, very large, and if you are using the vacuum tube and transistor in the for the circuitry purposes in the computer, dissipation of heat is very high. So for that there is a requirement to keep cool your computer cool. So for that refrigeration is also required. So a big AC room was required for the first generation computer. So and the cost of the computer was very high, right? What I told, that the period was between 1940 to 56. The technology we were using for the circuitry purposes was vacuum tube, and since we are using vacuum tube, dissipation of heat was too high. Okay, So to keep the computer cool, we were there was a need of refrigeration also. So the cost of entire computer system of the first generation was very high. The memory capacity of those computers were 20 KB. What is this KB? Kilobyte. What is this? The smallest unit of storage is byte. Okay, and in one byte there is a 8 bit. Okay, and in 1 kilobyte there are 1024 bytes or 2 to the power 10 bytes. Okay, and in 1 megabyte there is a 1024 kilobyte. Then in 1 gigabyte there are 1024 megabyte. Okay, so these are basically kilobyte, megabyte, these are the units. In the first generation the memory capacity was 20 kilobyte. The processing speed, 300 instructions per second were executed. Okay, in the first generation computer. While we were writing our program, so we were writing our program using the machine language. You know that every computer understands in terms of 0 or 1. So in the first generation, we were not writing the program, we were writing our program in terms of 0 or 1. So what was the problem with that? The problem was that the code was very complex. The code was very complex, and if you write 10 line or 15 lines code, and if that is in machine code, it's very difficult to understand. Okay, but you know that every computer understands the machine language. It's a very close to hardware. Then execution speed was faster because you were writing your program, you were solving the problems using the machine language, means you were writing the programs in terms of 0 or 1, right? What were the examples of computers in first generation? UNIVAC, ADVAC. These were the two systems which were developed in the first generation. Then second generation came into existence. The period was between 1956 to 1963. And in the second generation, we were using the transistors, right? The size of the transistor, for the circuitry purposes, you will use the transistor, then the size of the computer will definitely be smaller than the first generation computer, but there is one problem. The problem is that still the size is larger, not as much big as vacuum tube, but again dissipation of heat is high. Cooling facility AC was required, and the cost is still high. Memory capacity of the second generation was 128 kilobyte, and the processing speed was 300 instructions per second. And programming language in second generation, we were using assembly language. What is the assembly language? In the first generation, we were writing our codes in terms of 0 or 1 machine language. In the second generation, we gave the mnemonic codes, MNEMONIC, mnemonic codes, right? Symbolic codes. You can also say we were writing our program in terms of mnemonics. For example, if we have to add two values, so what we will do? We will use the mnemonic add. If we want to multiply two values, we were using the multiply. For loading the value into the register, we were using into the memory, we were using the load. For starting your program, we were using the mnemonic start. For ending the program, we were using the mnemonic end. Okay. So in terms of mnemonics, if we were writing the program, that is the assembly language. So if our program is very large, then we will have to remember and memorize so many mnemonics commands. Okay, that was the drawback. And the code is still very complex in the assembly language, right? Some high-level languages were also evolved in the second generation. That is Fortran, COBOL, ALGOL. These were the high level language. When in second generation, the scientists gave a thought that whenever we are writing our program using the assembly language, it's very difficult to understand. So they told that always the language should be that in which the human beings are communicated with each other. So they told that okay, since English is the most acceptable language in this world, that's why the language of programming languages should also be in the like English language. That's why all the programming languages, Fortran, COBOL, ALGOL, C, C++, they are in English. They are English-like language, and they are known as high-level languages. And basically, that is also known as the procedural language. The examples of second generation IBM 1400 01, then you can see this IBM 7094 CDC 3600, UNIVAC 1100 So in the examination, very small, many questions are ranging out of these tables. In the first generation, which technology is used? In second generation, which technology? You can say transistor. In first generation, vacuum tube, right? What was the memory capacity? Name any two first generation computers. Name any two second generation computers. What is the assembly language? Okay, so many questions raised out of this table. In third generation, the period was 1964 to 1971. And we were using in computers for the circuitry integrated circuits. Okay, and the memory capacity was 1 MB. The size of ICs were very small, so the computer size also became small. And processing speed is 1 mega instructions per second. Okay, million instructions per second. Programming languages, we were used high level languages C, C++ along with the Fortran, COBOL, and ALGOL. And the examples of computers which were using the IC based computer, that is IBM 360 series and 1900 series. After that, fourth generation came into existence. The period was 1971 to present, and this is known as microprocessor also. Very large scale integrated circuit. Integrated circuit, VLSI, stands for very large scale integrated circuit. And magnetic memory capacity, magnetic core memory, LSI, large scale integrated and very large scale integrated. Memory capacity is very, very high in terms of MB and gigabyte also. Processing speed was faster than third generation. High level languages were used. C, C++, Java, Pentium series, multimedia, all the Celeron processors and Pentium processors were fourth generation for computers. Then fifth generation, present and beyond period. Basically, the artificial intelligence based applications are handled by the fifth generation computers. So what is artificial intelligence? You can say that artificial intelligence is the field of computer science in which the human beings are better than computers. Okay, we deal with those fields, and that is dealt with and solved by the artificial intelligence techniques. So what is the example? The examples are rocket launching, weather forecasting, robotics. All these are the artificial intelligence applications, right? So in fifth generation, to deal with the supercomputers, because if artificial intelligence is required for those systems in which the very large data is being used. So for that, to process very large set of data, supercomputers are needed. What are the examples of supercomputers of fifth generation, which is not given there? Okay, India, in terms of India, if I talk, that first supercomputer was imported by India in 1984, and by the then Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi. The name of that supercomputer was Cray. Tray. Please note down what are the informations I'm saying. Okay, so in 1984, Cray was the first supercomputer which India imported. After that, India developed many supercomputers by its own. For example, um, Param Siddhi, which is the best 69, which rank is 69th among top 100 best supercomputers in the world. Okay. After that, Pratyush, which is having the rank 78 performance wise, 78th in the world. Okay. Then after that, Anurag. So these are the various supercomputers which are developed by India. So in the examination, they ask name any two supercomputers which are developed by India. Name any supercomputer which name the supercomputer which is imported by India in 1980. Yeah, first supercomputer which is imported by India. So these are the various questions which is this is ULSI. What memory capacity it use? Ultra large scale integration. VLSI means very large scale. So, and many times they ask the question, what is IC? Integrated circuit. What is VLSI? Very large scale integrated circuit. What is ULSI? Ultra large scale integration technology. Okay. So these are the various questions. Now, as I told you that every computer understands in terms of machine language. Means in terms of 0 or 1. So whenever you are writing your program in assembly language or high level language, it means internally that will be converted into the machine language. Okay. So whenever I'm time, what is the language? Language is basically used to communicate. Human beings always communicate with each other using some speaking language like English, Tamil, Telugu, Spanish, German, different. And you know that every speaking language, spoken language, languages are having their own grammar, own syntaxes. Okay, if you want to talk with each other, two human beings are talking with each other in Hindi, so they must have been the expertise of the grammar. They must have the expertise on the grammar of Hindi language, right? So for the communication, language is used in the same manner. In the same manner, when a human being is communicating with the computer, so for that communication, to establish that communication, programming language is used. So you can categorize the language into two categories. One is natural language, and another one is formal languages. Okay. So in natural languages, all the spoken languages comes into this category. And one drawback of the natural languages is too that one particular statement may have numerous meanings. Okay, it means that meaning wise there is an ambiguity in the natural language. While in the case of formal languages, all the programming languages comes into this category, in the category of formal languages, and they are unambiguous. If one statement is there, one word is there, that will have only one meaning, right? So language is used for the communication. You can categorize into two categories. One is speaking language, natural languages. Another one is formal languages. All programming languages are known as formal languages, and they have the grammar and syntaxes. C is having grammar. C++ is having their own grammar. Python is having own grammar. Java is having own grammar. So they have their own, and every programming language is having their own advantages and disadvantages. So which programming language a person will choose to communicate with the computer, that depends on what? That depends on the requirement of the human or requirement of the user, right? Every programming language is having advantage and disadvantage. So मैंने कहा कि if you are writing your program using the assembly language or high level language, but computer understands in terms of machine language, so there is a need of translator. What is the translator? Translator is a system software which converts high level language, one language into another language. So if you are using assembler in second generation, if you are using assembler for writing your programs, then there will be a translator, assembler, which will convert your assembly language program into the machine language internally. So assembler are of two types. One is turbo assembler, still that is used in microprocessor, macro assembler and turbo assembler. Basically turbo and macro both are the company's name, right? So turbo assembler and macro assembler, these two microprocessor assemblers are used for writing the microprocessor assembly programs. Okay. Then in high level language, if you are writing your program, then two translators you may use. One is interpreter, another one is compiler. One is interpreter and another one is compiler. Interpreter, how will you define? Interpreter is a translator which converts high level language into machine language. In the same manner, if we talk about the compiler, that also converts high level language into machine level. But there is a difference. What is the difference? Once you have written your program, and if you are compiling it, if any error is there in your program, you will get all error at once after compiling the program. Then you get the list of errors, you remove those errors and your program get compiled. While in the case of interpreter, you execution of program is line by line. One line, suppose your code is of 10 lines, the first line will be executed. If there is any error, then first you will correct that, then you will proceed to the second line. So in the interpreter, execution is line by line. Then what is the drawback of interpreter? If execution is line by line, if error checking is line by line, then the execution will be slower in the case of interpreter, while in the case of compiler, the execution will be faster. Why faster? Because the entire code will be compiled at once and you will get the list of errors and you will remove those errors one by one, right? So compilers are always faster than interpreters, right? So these are the various questions which can be asked in the examination. What do you mean by translator? What are the different types of translators? So I told you that translators are system softwares which are used to convert one programming language into another programming language. The translators are assembler, interpreter, and compiler. Name of the assemblers: turbo assembler and macro assembler, MACRO, macro assembler. While compiler and interpreter, the difference is that interpreter is slow because line by line execution is there, and in compiler the execution of the will be at once, and you will get a list of errors and you will remove those errors one by one, right? So compilers are faster than interpreters. In the fifth generation computer, they are artificial intelligence based computers, and you will deal with those computers, those field of computer science in which human beings are better. For example, natural language processing. For example, weather forecasting, right? So these are the different generation of computers. It's clear to everybody? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Sir,
If anything not clear, then
Yes, sir.
you can stop me and you can ask me, right? Then logical, there is a G has been left over here. Logical, LOGICAL, logical diagram of computer system. Okay, so as I told you that brain is an example of computer, non-deterministic computer, and this is the deterministic computer. So in the brain is your CPU. Okay, then what are the input devices? Input devices are your eyes, your ear, okay, and your nodes. These are various input devices. Okay, अगर body part की बात करें, right? And suppose whatever you are speaking, that is the input as well as whatever you are producing output. So this can be input as well as output both. Okay, so in the same manner, computer, this is the block diagram where this is the input unit. You can say that computer is an electromechanical device in which the input is given to the computer system, it processes and produces the output. This is another definition. This could be another definition of computer system. A computer system is an electromechanical device in which we provide input to the computer system and which receives input, and after processing it produces output. So in block diagram there is the input unit. Examples of input are
Excuse me, sir.
keyboard and mouse, and output are monitor and printer. Okay,
Excuse
here
me, sir.
in the
सर मेरी मीटिंग ज्वाइन नहीं हो रही सर, मुश्किल से ज्वाइन हो रही सर, आप प्लीज दे सकते हो सर?
हेलो,
हेलो सर, आपको मेरी आवाज आ रही है सर?
हाँ आ रही है
सर मेरी मीटिंग ज्वाइन नहीं हो रही सर।
ज्वाइन तो हो गई है बेटा,
मगर सर मोबाइल सर, तो मेरे मोबाइल में बैटरी ज्यादा है नहीं सर, और सर लैपटॉप हो ही नहीं रही सर अभी तो।
कोई बात नहीं। तो मैं इसमें क्या मदद करूं बताओ?
मगर सर एक बार सर मुझे लिंक भेजो, तो एक और बार सर आप मुझे।
ये अभी तो बेटा पॉसिबल नहीं है। कहाँ पे भेजना है बताओ?
सर ग्रुप पे भेजो सर, एक बार आप ग्रुप पे।
बेटा अब इसको क्लास फिर डिस्टर्ब होगी ना बीच में।
ओके सर, कोई नहीं सर, कोई नहीं।
कोई बच्चे से मंगवा लो, किसी स्टूडेंट से मंगवा लो बेटा, ठीक है?
ओके सर।
हाँ, किसी स्टूडेंट से मंगा लो, फ्रेंड हो बेटा, कोई भेज दो इनको, नाम बता दो अपना। हाँ ठीक है। तो इनपुट डिवाइस, देन दिस इज द सेंट्रल प्रोसेसिंग यूनिट विच इज सिमिलर टू द ब्रेन, in which this arithmetic and logical unit which is used to compare the things and doing the arithmetic, matlab addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. Okay, so this is for used for the arithmetic. And logical unit means comparison, true, false, less than, greater than, okay, equal to, not equal to, greater or equal to, less or equal to. All these things are done. Comparison related and arithmetic related things are done over here. Then this is the control unit. What is the use of this control unit? This control unit establishes the synchronization between the different parts of the computer. For example, it establishes the synchronization with arithmetic and logical unit, with memory unit, with the input unit, with the output unit. So here your brain is a synchronization part, that is the control unit, and through brain your hand, every part of your body is synchronized. अगर ब्रेन आपका काम नहीं करे तो आप हाथ को उठा भी नहीं सकते. Okay, so everything is synchronized through your brain. In the same manner, here the control unit which synchronizes every part of the computer. Then there is a memory unit. Okay, so in the memory unit your data is stored. So memory can be of two types: primary memory and secondary memory. What is the primary memory? Which is within the CPU. That is the primary. That's why it is known as the primary memory. Secondary memory is outside the CPU. External memory, for example, hard disk, magnetic tape. These are the secondary memory. Primary memory में random access memory and read-only memory. Okay, in random access memory is a temporary memory. Okay, temporary memory, and it's not permanent, while this read-only memory is permanent memory, and that is only once you can write anything on the microprocessor chip, and then you can only read it. Okay, so I will discuss this memory and in subsequent part. Now there is another concept that is known as stored programs. Okay, this is very important concept, stored programs. This stored program concept is given by John von Neumann. John von Neumann was a scientist. Okay, and basically earlier what was the thing? The memory was in the memory two parts. Program के क्या होते हैं? Two parts होते हैं, instructions and data. You write the program. Programs are in terms of instructions, and those programs are applicable on some data. Okay? क्योंकि डेटा के बिना तो कोई भी प्रोग्राम लिखने का कोई मतलब नहीं है ना. Why you write programs? To analyze the data. So without data, you can not write the program, because program is always applicable on data. Okay, and then on the basis of that data, you produce reports. You different reports. So that's why instruction and data in the earlier computers were stored separately in the memory, right? So from the control unit, if instruction is fetched, then data is fetched, then process. So it was a very time consuming thing. Then John von Neumann told that instruction and data both will be stored at one place in the memory. Okay, this concept is known as stored program concept. If the instruction and data will be stored in at one place, that is known as stored program concept, and in that way context switching is less and the execution speed will be higher. So what is written in the stored program concept? Both the instructions and the data are stored in the computer memory itself. Before the introduction of this idea, instructions and data were considered two totally different entities and were thus stored separately. Thus, instructions like data can be read from the memory and written to the memory by the processor. The processor then addresses the memory. That is the context switching. मतलब पहले डेटा को करेगा, फिर उसको करेगा, मेमोरी उसको instructions को करेगा, then the processor then addresses the memory, reads the corresponding instructions, executes them, and according to the executed instruction processes data as well. तो आप देखो ना कि steps are more. So John von Neumann told that both instructions and data should be at one place so that context switching is not much more and the speed will be faster. Then fourth, computers that store both instructions and data on the same memory are said to be based on the von Neumann architecture. This is also known as John von Neumann architecture, and all the modern computers are based on this stored program concepts, right? So this is the stored program concept. So in the examination, they may ask, what do you mean by stored program concept? When the instructions and data placed at the same place in the memory, that is the stored program concept, and that is given by whom? That is given by anyone? Hello?
John von Neumann.
John von Neumann, right? Then what are the different applications? So these days you are during the pandemic time, it's evident that the biggest application is online. Okay, online education, online trading, all these things are there. So that was not possible if computer was not there. So in education, in government offices, in banking, in railways, in sports, okay, in defense and environments, in hospitals, at home, medical fields, businesses, right, in technologies, because everywhere these days, so everywhere there is a use of computer, and without use of computer you cannot think about it, okay, anything. And then what are the drawbacks? The drawback is still 80% people in this country are living below poverty line. So that is not, computer is not accessible to them. Okay, computer is not accessible to many lower middle class families. Okay, due to high cost of the computers, right? So two types of societies are being created. One is high income society, another one is low income society, and the number of people with the low income society are much. Okay, so the computers are not accessible to them due to high cost. Second thing, computer doesn't do anything on its own. Okay, it's dependent on the man. Okay, man. And if whatever the instruction the person will give to the computer will do accordingly. It doesn't perform anything on its own basis. Okay, if automation is there, so that automation will be done by the user itself, then only the automation will be done. Okay, so computer is dependent on the human being, and whatever the instructions are given by the human being, accordingly it performs. Right? It's clear to everybody? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir.
Right. Then categorization of computers. Okay, you can categorize the computers into two categories. One is digital computer, another one is analog computer. Thermometer, you take the reading of temperature, thermometer, through thermometer. That is an example of analog computer. Traffic light, washing machine, thermal clock, these are the examples of analog computers. Example of digital computer, digital laptop, digital camera, all these are examples of digital computer.
Digital.
But what is the basic difference between these two, analog and digital computer? Analog is discrete. What do you mean by discrete? Discrete मतलब 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 0.5 नहीं, 1.2 नहीं, 1.3 नहीं. ठीक है? तो डिस्क्रीट वैल्यूज, डिजिटल कंप्यूटर हमेशा डिस्क्रीट वैल्यूज के साथ डील करता है. ठीक है? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. जबकि एनालॉग कंप्यूटर डिस्क्रीट एज वेल एज कॉन्टिन्यूअस है. कॉन्टिन्यूअस का क्या मतलब है? कॉन्टिन्यूअस का मतलब है कि 0 और 0.1 के बीच में इनफाइनाइट नंबर्स हो सकता है. 0.1, 001, 0.00001, 1 और 2 के बीच में इनफाइनाइट नंबर हो सकता है. 1 एंड 1.1 के बीच में इनफाइनाइट नंबर हो सकता है. मतलब हर पॉइंट्स को, तो उसको हम बोलते हैं कॉन्टिन्यूअस. ओके, तो एनालॉग कंप्यूटर्स आर कॉन्टिन्यूअस व्हाइल डिजिटल कंप्यूटर्स आर डिस्क्रीट. राइट? तो व्हाट इज द डिफरेंस? Difference is कि digital computer shows result in computer display screen, monitors, CD and other peripheral devices. Clear है? But digital computer performs work discretely. मतलब हमेशा whole number के साथ ये काम करता है. जबकि analog computer shows output in form of voltage signals and reading on connected meters. Analog computer produces continuous voltage signals to perform continuously, right, in decimal terms. So this is the difference between the analog and digital computer, and these are the examples. Right? Suppose anybody is from mathematics background, any student?
Yes, sir.
So if you are some students are of mathematics background, so integration, there is a concept of integration. So in the integration, any expression, a mathematical expression is there, and if you are using the integration, so in the integration, it's a continuous, because every point of the real line will be covered. Okay, while if any mathematical expression is given and you are using summation I is equal to 1 to n, and any expression is given, suppose xi is given, so I की value 1, फिर I की value 2, फिर 3 up to n. So that is the discrete expression, right? If you are writing integration I is equal to 1 to n xi, that is the continuous. So continuous और real line पे, if you are accessing every point, that is the continuous. If you are accessing the whole numbers 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, then that is the discrete. Okay, so it's clear between the analog and digital difference between.
Yes,
all
sir.
of you? Hello, the concept
Yes,
of
sir.
analog and digital computer is clear to all of you?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
So
sir.
in the
Yes,
example, they may ask what is the difference between analog and digital computer, and name, give examples of analog and digital computer. So in BA program, you don't have to go into the depth. The question will be example, give the example and differentiate. Okay, but I told you in the detail so that you must remember this. Don't worry, I will share this PPT with all of you. Then digital computer. So why generations were introduced? Generations were, the purpose of generation was introduced. From first generation to fifth generation, the size of the computer getting smaller, but speed of the computer was getting faster, right? So in the same way, types of computer, types of digital computers, there is another categorization. सबसे पहले माइक्रो, भाई पहले मैंने क्या कहा, computers can be categorized into two categories. One is analog, another one is digital. Now I am categorizing the digital computer. So that can be categorized into category microcomputer, mini computer, mainframe computer, supercomputer. Right? So what is the microcomputer? Microcomputer is basically all the personal computers, laptop, notebook, sub notebook, PDA. Okay, these are the personal computers used for personal usage. Okay, mini computers क्या है? Mini computer, suppose you are working in a multi-user environment where 200 computers are connected with a server. So those computers which are connected to the server, they are known as workstation, and the main server is the from which the other computers are connected, that is known as server. So always the configuration of workstation and server will be higher, and even the configuration of server will be much more than the workstation. Then high density computing machine, that is known as mainframe computer. The mainframe computers are used to compute very large amount of data. Then supercomputers. Supercomputers are used to deal with the artificial intelligence based applications. And I told you what are the artificial intelligence based applications. They are the weather forecasting, they are the robotics, they are the many more, rocket launching. Okay, so many more applications are there of that. Then I have described it. Personal computer, it can be defined as a small that range up to the limited cost. It appeared in the year of 1970s, that worked with a small CPU, RAM and memory chips. Okay, notebook, laptop, sub notebook, handheld computers, palm top computers, PDA. All these are personal digital assistant. Personal digital assistance. This is the full form of this. कभी कभी पूछ लेते हैं एग्जाम में, ऑब्जेक्टिव क्वेश्चंस पे आते हैं. ओके, तो दे आस्क mini computer. It is a mid-sized computer useful in workstations that can cover 200 users simultaneously. And if I talk server, so server could be Apache server, IIS server, Windows NT server. There are many types of servers. Then supercomputer. Supercomputer is best fastest computer in the world. That is very expensive. It works based on mathematical calculations. So everything works well with the simple procedure. Supercomputer deals with the scientific simulations, animated graphics, electrical design, perform dynamic and calculations etc. तो वही चीजें लिखी है. मेन वो है कि आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस बेस्ड एप्लीकेशंस को सॉल्व करने के लिए वी यूज द सुपर कंप्यूटर. तो आई थिंक इट्स इनफ फॉर टुडे.